and you are asking, why do I get sick? It is important to know, why do I get sick? And this is what takes people to places. They want to know why they are sick. Why am I sick? Suddenly, as I go to the hospital, they say it's kidney problem, they say it's diabetes, they say it's hypertension, they say it's osteoporosis, the weakness of the bone density, they say it's arthritis, many others. So why do I get sick? Now, I want to tell you here from the food or nutrition perspective that there are a lot of reasons why you get sick. I'm going to review some of them to you today. And the reason I'm going to review to you today why you get sick is to help you see how you can prevent this sickness. So that if you have not been sick yet, if you are still enjoying your health, you go about your business, you go out, you come in, you don't have all these problems, you are not having any terminal diseases, and then you just need to think inward. So if that is why people get sick, let me begin to initiate a strategy known as preventive methodology. That strategy alone is going to help me. That's what I want to tell you today. So, for example, what causes blood, vessel disease? Why do people have blood vessel disease that leads to what we call heart disease? And then I want to tell you here that the main cause of this problem is what we call atherosclerosis, which is a buildup of fatty deposits, that narrow a blood vessel, usually an artery. When there is atherosclerosis, it will narrow the blood vessel, usually an artery. So look at it from that perspective. The blood system is made in such a way that blood flows from one angle to another, from one area of the body to another. Okay? Now, if anything happens to the body and the blood is not flowing properly, maybe from the left part of the heart to the right part of the heart, and then or from the heart to the brain cells, or from the brain cells to the lower, like the leg areas, and to the right arm, and not the rest part of the body, the blood must flow. And that whenever the blood is not flowing adequately, that is to say something is happening. That is where we're looking at the word atherosclerosis. It is the main cause. Okay? This atherosclerosis is the build-up of fatty deposit. And then one will ask, where does this fatty deposit come from? And because when you begin to experience strange things in your body, in this part of the world, somebody will say, I'm attacked. As I was sleeping, I just suddenly discovered some strange experiences. It looked like I was attacked. And what comes to mind? What is that kind of attack? They think is spiritual problem. They think it's spiritual. The enemy is attacking him or her. And I want to tell you here, bro, sister, wherever you are hearing me from, no enemy is attacking you. It is how the body works. The body system flows with blood and oxygen. And something can obstruct the flow of this oxygen. What is it that can block the flow of this oxygen? Fatty deposit, in the blood vessels and in the arteries. Fatty deposits. Sometimes you may call it cholesterol. Yes. And when we talk about this cholesterol, we talk about the low density lipoprotein. That's what can block the artery or the blood vessels. So my big question was, why do people get sick? And so when there is this fatty deposit in the artery, it might lead to high blood pressure. It might lead to heart disease. It might hinder or affect the metabolism of the body, the way the body metabolizes. So you don't need to ask again, why do I get sick? So that if right now as I'm talking to you, you have high blood pressure, you now know that there is a fatty deposit in your blood vessel, in your artery. And when that happens, it narrows the artery. The artery was originally made to be flexible, free. Whenever it forms blood, it goes freely, no obstruction, no hindrance. But all of a sudden, whenever the heart is to pump blood from one area of the body to another, you discover that there is a kind of obstruction. You will be feeling it in your heart, whereas you are not supposed to feel when the heart is pumping. That tells you that something is wrong somewhere. And where is this fatty deposit coming from? Yes. Is it witches? Is it wizard? The answer is no. Is it an enemy attacking you? The answer is no. Where is it coming from? That brings us to a point where you have to technically, carefully, deliberately look at the food you eat on daily basis. Because the food you eat on daily basis can, have a negative impact in your body. The food you eat, it could be akara, okay? It could be the fried rice. It could be the fried dodo, plantain. It could be the fried meat. It could be the butter and bread, okay? It could be all those things that contain a lot of oil. And you eat them with pleasure on a regular basis. That is where the fatty deposit coming from. And then when they are there, they will be deposited in the blood vessels and the arteries. After a long time, you begin to feel the blood is now sluggish because it's no longer flowing the way it used to flow before. And before long, when the heart is to pump blood, the blood pressure now gets elevated. Maybe the upper limit of the blood or the lower one, as what we may call the, blood pressure. The blood pressure, they begin to rise and rise and rise. Originally, normal blood pressure could be 120 over maybe 70 or 75. Or 30 to 35, between 35, 30, and then the lower one, diastolic, could be 75 or 80, normal. And then the systolic will be 35. When it is within that region, let's say 110 or 100, between 100 in the systolic to 135, normal. And then the diastolic between maybe 80 to 60, normal. But when it moves from 35 to 45 in the systolic, and then the long one moves from 80 to 90 and above, or even like in the systolic, it moves again. That tells you that something is wrong, that the fatty deposit, which led to what we call atherosclerosis, has increased, and it makes the artery to be hardened. So when we say atherosclerosis here, we are talking about the hardening of the artery. The artery originally used to be flexible, very, very flexible, like balloon. When you blow balloon to just open, wow, and then it goes, and then just like that. But all of a sudden, it gets very thick and very hard. It can no longer, move the way it used to move before. That's what we call atherosclerosis. That is the reason you are sick. So the many things you have been eating over time has led to what we call atherosclerosis, the fatty deposits, that help to narrow the blood vessels and artery also. So why are you asking if you have had me today? Is that not enough for you to now know where the problem is coming from? And as long as this thing lingers with you, if you did not address it, you see your blood pressure keep on continue to move. It will move from 145 to 160, maybe over 90. And then again, you check, it will be 170 and come to over 100. And it continues like that. If you did not handle it properly, it will get to where they say, that man gets stroke. That woman gets stroke. And that stroke is where our people say it is ekbomia. Ekbomia. Man, nothing like that. Because as a scientist, I have been able to tell you where this problem is coming from. Because initially, we were always told that ekbomia wuka, But I have told you where the problem is coming from now. So if I tell you that food can lead to your death, food can also lead to your health, you will believe me. You must believe me beginning now. So what are you going to do in order to help this condition? Because if indeed there is a fatty deposit that help to narrow the blood vessels and narrow the arteries, that means there is something that must be done. There are certain food I have told you, I've been saying this over and over and over again, that you may have been eating over time that led to this. And so for you to stop this fatty deposit, already I talk about oil. And I say here, God has blessed us abundantly with oil. And so we have it enough, so much that a woman can have a bottle of oil in one pot of soup, in one pot of rice, in order to make stew. It could be groundnut oil, it could be palm oil, and all of that. Oil is oil. Even though some oil are better than the other, but that oil is oil. Now, when you have consumed so much oil and take into your system, it will lead to, raising your lipid profile. When we say lipid profile, we're talking about the low density lipoprotein or the high density lipoprotein. But that which one that actually affects the heart is a low density lipoprotein, the bad cholesterol. Bad cholesterol emanates from most of the oil thing you have been eating, enjoying yourself. You fry your meat, you fry your plantain, you fry your indomie, you fry your everything you have. Because you have enough oil, you can use red oil to fry or white oil or whichever kind of oil anyway. So, but I tell you that the moment you're able to overcome this problem of consuming so much oil, you are going to, gradually take care of some of these problems. Why do people get sick? I think I've been able to tell you why you are sick of maybe hypertension or heart disease. So what are you telling me, that there is a witches, there is a wizard attacking you, and then the wizard is attacking you, wants to kill you? You are the one that wants to kill yourself. Nobody wants to kill you, of course. Because when you go back in history, you check your food component, you check the food ingredients, you check all the things I've been eating over the years. It's not far from what I've just told you. And if that is the condition of your feeding, it means you surely have high blood pressure. That is why you can see 10 adults today, maybe 7 among them have high blood pressure, because all their food formation are in that order. I mean, you may not eat fried food, but you will have so much oil put in your soup. Yes. They may not be fried food, like fried yam or fried egg or fried indomie or fried rice and whatever. But when you are cooking your jollof rice, you put so much oil and you put so much salt. When you are cooking your soup, like a soup like vegetable soup, our people say it needs a lot of oil, and you pour so much oil into it, it will lead to the same problem. So who is fooling who? So we need to know why we get sick. Why do you get sick? You don't need a prophet to tell you why you get sick. I've been able to tell you today why you get sick. Okay? And now, let me also go a step further, because I know that so many people today are trusting God for healing, are trusting God for sound health. But I tell you that you may pray 1,000 prayers and fast 70 days fasting, and yet you are still sick. Why are you sick? It means you have not deliberately done what your body needs. Because what your body needs is to turn away from those things that you were eating that may have been contributing to your problem. Okay? So the moment you turn away from these things you are doing and begin to correct all those things and eat the right, type of food at the right time, and then continue in that order, gradually begin to see your problem come down. So don't accuse anybody. Don't accuse your brother. Don't accuse your neighbor. Members of the church say you accuse somebody, you don't even share your problem with them because you feel that somebody is responsible to your problem. You feel that because your child has gotten a job and somebody wants to kill you so you will not benefit from your child. You are feeling that you've just got a new in-law and the in-law is buoyant enough to provide to your need, and so somebody wants to kill you. Nobody wants to kill you. It is because what you are suffering now is prosperity sickness. Yeah, because the moment you begin to have a lot of money in your hand and you eat all that you can provide for yourself, you may not even know the good and the bad among your food. That is why you need a dietitian. I'm talking to you now. So if I were you, I'll look for a dietitian. And so, oh, doctor, how can I help myself? I've been suffering from this, I'm suffering from this, I've been taking drugs, it looks like it's not working. So in terms of food, how can you help me? And then we come in and we'll tell you, we'll look at the history of your dietary intake, what you have been eating, maybe from your father's house, from your mother's house, or from when you were younger, and then we'll begin to investigate. With this investigation, I'm sure we shall come to a point where we know where your problem is coming from, which is not witches and wizards, which is not the enemy outside. It is the enemy in you that actually is killing you. Do you know that greed can also join hand to killing you? Because I've met people, after talking to them, they say something must kill a man. Those people are talking what they are talking from greed, anger, because they feel that what they love, they cannot live it. I've also met some women who say, if this will go, if you do this thing, we cannot do it. That is greed. Otherwise, you're supposed to, when you hear, sound health counseling, you're supposed to pay rapt attention and say, wow, so that has been what was killing me. Therefore, I'm going to change. But somebody's not willing to change. Why will you change? Because you feel that if there's no garri in your food, no, I have not eaten. You feel that if there's no rice in your food, you have not eaten. You feel that if you did not fry your food, you have not eaten. You feel that if you did not eat meat, that means, what are we finding? What is the money for? How do we enjoy our money? Is that the only way you can enjoy your money, when you are killing yourself? Man. So you must come to a point where you understand that what I'm doing is killing me. What I am doing is killing me. Now, let me come here now. Do you know that some people don't drink water? Because I've often found a number of persons dehydrated. When they come to our office, we examine them and test them, we discover they are chronically dehydrated. And then when you are chronically dehydrated, who is going to help you out? You do not drink water because you don't want to wee when you go out. Man, is that enough reason why you don't want to drink water? Now, let me tell you today that there's a relationship between dehydration and hypertension. There's a very close relationship between dehydration and arthritis. There's a close relationship between dehydration and diabetes. There's a relationship between dehydration and constipation. There's a relationship between dehydration and ulcer. Many other health conditions you experience in your body are related with dehydration. So what do you need is hydration. Drink water. Drink water. Because once you drink water, water is going to help to recondition your system, hydrate your system. The blood flows with water in your system. For people having kidney problem, you need water. Your kidney drinks water 24 hours. Volume of water, 24 hours. Okay? 24 hours. 24 hours you need water. Every moment of the day you need water. Any moment you did not drink water, that means your system is going to suffer from dehydration. And that dehydration is enough to raise your blood pressure. It's enough to cause some damage on the inside. So you need water. But somebody is telling you, if I drink water, I'll peace. If I drink water, peace, brother, peace, sister. But drink water. That is why some people get sick. So there are several things, we call them sharp practices, that people get involved in, and then they get sick. And then finally they will look for who to blame. Do you know that when you get sick, members of your family are also sick? Yes, of course, psychologically and socially. When you get sick, colleague of yours gets sick, psychologically and socially. When you get sick, a lot of money will go. What if you don't have money that time you get sick? It will look like God is tempting you. God does not tempt any man. Okay? And that is the more reason you must think of how you can begin to embark on preventive methodology. What I'm telling you now is that you can help yourself and reduce the frequency of sickness and reduce what we call, medical overhead, either for your staff or members of your family or yourself. So what you are hearing me say now is going to prevent you from getting sick if you are ready to correct the wrong. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are listening me from, there are so many things that make you get sick. But keep it in your mind that it's not witches and wizards that make you get sick. Okay? It is sharp practices, is misbehavior, is poor dietary intake, is inability to do the right thing at all times. There are some of you who have had me teach or that I've been teaching all this while, and then you began the practice, but all of a sudden you stop and you never continued in them. So who is to blame? Please, I know our time is far spent. Let's take, commercial, and then if there's time, we'll continue.